Welcome to this edition of Miles Ahead, and this time we're looking at the brand new Audi Q4 Sportback e-tron. So this has just been released in the UK now, so the Q4 e-tron's been on the block for a short while now. So this is the more coupe inspired version, sloping headline and all that sort of stuff. Now I was expecting the sloping headline to pinch a bit of headroom. I'm 6'2", but as we'll see in a moment, it doesn't actually. They've done a really clever job on the inside of this car, but we'll have a look at the outside first. So this car starts at £45,775. A couple of options to note: these fantastic LED matrix headlights. I mean, Audi, probably the leaders in the headlight game. They are £1,000 though as an optional extra. As we can see around here, all plastic at the front there. There's obviously no need for massive air vents. Some vents around the side there, some fake vents on the side. As we come round, another option to note, these are the upgraded 20-inch 5-spoke grey alloy wheels. I think they look quite nice, if perhaps a little lost in the size of this car. It's got very big tyres on it, but that does result in a more comfortable ride. So as we come round, as you can see from the side, the roofline does start to slope, but as I'll show you, it doesn't actually steal that much headroom. So we'll jump in the back there. That seat is in my driving position as well. As you can see, there is plenty of room in here. It's really surprising. When it turned up, I thought, oh God, you're never going to get anyone in the back of this, but actually there is loads of room in here. And there's a couple of USB-C chargers down there, and you can control the heating and ventilation at the back there as well. Some netting for some storage. Very nice back here. One option you might want to consider though is the panoramic sunroof. I think that's a £1,200 option. Would just let a bit more light in here, but otherwise zero complaints. Yeah, like I say, really thought I was going to lose a bit of headroom there, but privacy glass fitted to this, that comes in at £400. This is the charging point as well, Type 2 charger. Pull it out for the fast charging, and we'll get to the charging cables in the back here now. Just hang on, if I shut that properly, there we go. So fantastic rear lights on this as well, really good, and there's plenty of space in this boot. It's really cleverly put together. I'm not sure how they've created so much space. The one downside, we'll get to in a second actually, is the rear visibility out the back isn't great, but your charging cables and all that sort of stuff, there's a separate layer in there for those, so easy enough to transport those around. But yeah, as we have a look here, so it's a really good looking car from the back actually, isn't it? I do quite like it. So you've got a big pane of glass here, but it's split by this by the spoiler at the back, so it does just make visibility out the rear mirror a little tricky, but it's not the end of the world. You'd go for this sort of styling if you prefer this look to the standard Q4 e-tron, and I can see why it'll appeal. And Audi actually reckon that the Q4 e-tron is going to be their #2 biggest seller in the UK after the A3, and they reckon that the Sportback version will account for around 16% of those sales. So Audi definitely expecting big things from this. So let's see what it's like inside. So this is the interior of the Audi Q4 Sportback e-tron, and I have to say, I do rather like it up here. It's really intelligently laid out. So you've got your traditional touchscreen Audi up here. The interface, very easy to use, very easy to change settings, navigation, radio station, all that. And the navigation with Audi is always really good as well. So you can have it up here, and on your head-up display as well. Moving down from here, so you've got physical buttons for your HVAC down here. Quick shout out to the heated seats as well. These might be the quickest heating seats I've ever experienced. They do get quite hot quite quickly, which ideal for those cold winter mornings, which are fast approaching at the moment. Down here, again, very minimalist by design. You've got, it's all touches down here, so to turn the volume up on the radio and stuff, you can do that just by running your finger around the outside there, and you don't get a gear lever. So if we start it up quickly, press start. So to move it into drive, you pull that down, and there's two settings, so there's D and B. So D is just normal driving, pull it down again, B. That means you get the maximum regenerative braking when you're not accelerating, although Audi doesn't do one pedal driving in the way that some other electric car manufacturers do. So have a quick look in reverse. So it's going mad because we've left something at the back there, but again you get a really nice clear picture through there as well, and that's all very easy to use as well. And one other thing you can do here, you press that and you can give it a quick clean, which is handy if it gets dirty, if you need a clearer picture. So that's really good as well. Moving across to the view you get here, so on the steering wheel, the controls, again, they're touch sensitive, so you can go up and down for your volume there, which is quite nice. One slight downside is there's a mute button in the middle there, and there's been a couple of times, because you can use these as physical buttons as well to turn the volume up and down, have gone for mute. So you might be listening to one of your favourite songs, it's getting to the chorus, you're just turning the volume up to give it full power, and then you're left with the sound of your own lamentable singing, but minor drawback. This steering wheel in itself is a £295 option on this car, so flat top, flat bottom, I quite like it. Cruise control down here. Steering wheel itself is very adjustable, goes quite a long way in, out, up and down as well, so you know, good flexibility in your driving positions there. One important button to note, as ever with Audi, this button here on the end of the stalk turns off the lane keep assist. It is a bit overpowering at times, can confuse itself a little bit as well, but very easy to turn off, but also quite useful to have as a function if you're, you know, using the adaptive cruise control on, say, the motorway. One final point to note in here as well, kind of haven't got the camera angle to show you because they do hide it in very well. The augmented reality head-up display in this car is absolutely fantastic. If you want more information on that, Audi are very keen to shout about that in the marketing bump, and I can see why. I can only vouch for it. It is very good. It's not too overpowering like some of them are. Gives you really useful list of information, that sort of thing. And it also, you know, tells you when it does work in tandem with the lane keep assist when there's a corner coming up. Just go, you might want to consider that there's a curve in the road coming up here. But yeah, very nicely laid out, as is the rest of the cabin. You know, it's such an easy car to use. This, hop in, press start, off you go, no messing around. Yeah, very little to complain about in here. Yeah, really well thought out. But key question, what's it like to drive? So, what's the Audi Q4 Sportback e-tron like out on the road? We'll start with acceleration. You do get that initial burst like you do with all electric vehicles, but this isn't really built for performance, this car. So as we mentioned, 0 to 60, a lick over 8 seconds. So, you know, obviously that is not the main focus of this car. Instead, it's much more focused on being a nice, refined, relaxing, comfortable, quiet ride. And it is. It's really quiet in here. It's almost something quite mindful about it, very relaxing experience. Definitely if you were using this car fully every day for commuting, school runs, shopping, with the occasional long journey thrown in, there's no question you'd get on very well with this car. When you do start to prod it a little bit, there is a little bit to work with. There's plenty of traction, actually, a surprising amount of traction. You can fling it down a decent B road and it does grip quite well, actually, surprisingly well. I mean, when you really prod it, it's rear wheel drive. When you really prod it, you can start to feel the back end come out of shape a bit, but I mean, you have to really be prodding it for that. I mean, like I say, that's really not the focus of this car at all, but you know, there is a bit to work with there, and you could enjoy yourself. So this is the 40 Q4 Sportback e-tron 40. It also comes in 35 and 50 guys, so 35 being bottom of the range, 50 being top, so this is very much in the middle. The range starts, I think you get 35 S-Line from about £40,000, and you can get the 50 Vorsprung for about £66,000. So, you know, there's quite a wide range to the Q4 Sportback e-tron. Also, when you're giving it a push, the steering is very accurate. It places the car exactly where you want it to go. There's no feedback, and this does seem to be a recurring thing with all electric cars that we've been driving. There's just, you know, it's all very accurate and it does what you're thinking and what you want it to do, which obviously is great. But, you know, not so much problem with a model like this, which is more relaxed by nature and, you know, isn't designed to be fast and furious. But, you know, a bit more feedback would be nice and would just add to that sort of sense of driver engagement and involvement, and I think you'd enjoy the drive a little bit more. But I don't think you'd be buying a car like this for that sort of driving. You'd very much be getting a car like this for everyday use, and as I mentioned, I mean, you'd get on with it in that setting. Other points to note, the brakes are okay. You know, it's quite a heavy car, obviously, because of all the battery technology in there. They do a decent enough job of stopping it. I think they're drum brakes, so, you know, not exactly cutting edge technology, but they do stop the car, that obviously being the most important thing when you're considering brakes. Other points to note, really, I do quite like it. It's really well put together in here. It's a nice place to be. It's relaxing, it's comfortable, everything's really intelligently laid out, and it's just nice and quiet, and everything works quite intuitively, and I quite like that about it. And I think it's quite a good looking car as well. I appreciate it might not be to everyone's taste because it is essentially an electric crossover, so yeah, it's not going to be to everyone's taste, but as I mentioned, Audi are expecting the Q4 e-tron to be their number 2 biggest seller in the UK after the A3, and I think people who are buying this car aren't going to be disappointed. It's going to do what you want it to do. It will fit in with your lifestyle. I mean, the other burning issue, but it's the same for all of them, is the public charging network. Is that there yet to support them? Probably not. They're not getting them in quick enough. But if you can install a charging point at home, and you know, you get a decent range in this car, topped up. I think they say it'll do 316 miles. Obviously, it won't do 316 miles. You're going to get, but you'll comfortably get 250 miles, I reckon, on a charge. I don't think that's pie in the sky stuff for this car, and that has been the focus for Audi with this next generation of EV car that they're doing. They want to add to that range to make the cars more usable, but you know, it still necessitates having a charging point at home. Really, if you're doing London to Leeds, you can now do it in one hit in one of these, which is great, but you are going to need to recharge before the return journey. But I think it's a major step in the right direction as a sort of mid-range everyday family car. I think this works really well. Really impressed with the layout in here. Plenty of space, it's comfortable, it's relaxing, it's quiet, there's plenty of storage space in here, so you're going to get everything you need in. And yeah, I mean, there's not really too much to fault on it, really. It's not designed to be an outright savage performance car, and it doesn't drive like one either. So if you're buying it for everyday use, you know, commuting, school run, shopping, all that sort of business, yeah, this really isn't going to disappoint. You're going to be really happy with one of these. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like. Please consider subscribing to the channel as well. We've already done loads on the channel, and we've got loads more coming up as well. So we've got a Cupra 4 Mentor, we've got a Kia Stinger GTS, we've got a Range Rover SV Autobiography, we're hoping to review the Polestar 1 and a Lamborghini Aventador. So yeah, we've got loads coming up, quite a range of cars as well. So please hit subscribe, and hopefully we'll see you soon. Thanks.